Hey guys, it's Elliot with Empirical360 here, and we get a lot of questions on what exactly goes into account management, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, or just managing your web presence and trying to get more conversions out of your campaigns. So let's dive right in here. So what we're going to talk about here is what actually goes into account management, and that's what we look at on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Why is it important and how we do it? So kind of why it's important is a lot of people think that you can just set an AdWords campaign or a Facebook campaign, set it and forget it, and the conversions will just keep coming in magically once you've figured out the secret sauce. And that is absolutely not the case. Search behavior changes on a daily basis, people's interaction changes on a daily basis. And so it's our job to be on top of these campaigns pretty much every single day to make sure that, we're keeping up with the current market. And so that's why we like to be in the accounts every day, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here is our account management template, if you will. And what we do is every month we go through all of these things to find out what opportunities are in your account. And this just helps your account grow and build and become a lot higher performing pretty much. So I'm going to take it from the top and kind of explain each one of these line items and what they mean. So the first thing is the Ngram report. What this is a script within AdWords that actually lets us mine all of the search phrases that trigger your ads. So what it does is it looks through every single search phrase that users have typed in to trigger your ads. It breaks the phrase up into smaller pieces so we can see what pieces of those phrases are actually converting. And so all it allows us to do is, number one, find words that we no longer want to rank for. So words that are either not getting conversions or words that are just getting conversions at too high of a cost, and we can either bid down on those words or exclude them. And it also allows us to find words that are performing really, really well in your account and then reallocate more budget to those words. And so that is done kind of on a monthly basis. It requires a lot of data for it to be worthwhile. So that's why we like to do it every month or every 2 months, depending on the size of your account. The next line item is click to calls. And so what these are, if you value inbound calls at your business, what we like to do is set up click to call ads. So the only function that these serve is to have someone call your business directly from Google. So they don't even go to your landing page. They go straight to a phone call into you. And so it's a really good campaign because you're pretty much paying for a click that usually yields a phone call. So that's why we like to set those up for people who value inbound calls, because it's pretty much right to a conversion, and it really helps the overall account quality, helps lead cost, and helps drive conversions for you. So expanded text ads. Google is constantly coming out, and this may be expanded or responsive, pretty much the next two line items. Google's always coming out with new formats for their ads. And so it's our job to stay up to date on those. Sometimes their ads work out well, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're in beta and we have to test them. But if you're not staying up to date on Google's ads, pretty much they're not going to serve you as much, and it just helps your overall conversion rate. So a lot of accounts sometimes have older ads. We like to make sure we're up to date with those. So whether it's expanded text ads, which have 3 headlines, 2 descriptions, and a lot more characters you can use, or the new responsive ads that they just came out with and they're really pushing hard for people to use. So that just is one of our line items we go through. We make sure all of your ads are up to date. They're all performing well. We pause any low performers, and then we update your ad formats. So landing page A/B tests. This is something that when your conversion rates, either your conversion rates are low or we're just trying to improve your overall cost per acquisition, we start testing the landing page. And this is a pretty in-depth process, but just at a glance, what it means is we test different elements on your page to try and get your conversion rate higher. So whether it's moving a form up higher above the fold, or putting your phone number a little bit larger, making your click to call buttons actually clickable so people can call you directly, all of these elements can help to improve your conversion rate and get more conversions out of your current spend. So the next thing here is GCLID upload. This is something that not a lot of companies do, but it's very, very valuable. And what this means is we like to track offline conversions. And so what that is let's say you're a plumber or you're a dentist or a call center and your sale doesn't take place online. So we're not able to track that sale anymore because it's taking place offline. What we can do is tie a unique identifier to each lead or phone call and then pump that information back into Google. What that allows us to do is see what campaigns, what keywords, what ads, what landing pages are actually driving sales for you. And so that is something that is very, very useful, because now we can optimize towards sales and not just leads. The next item here is called ad group level negatives. What this is adding negatives to each ad group. So we do what are called single keyword ad groups. And sometimes in your Google campaign, if you have two keywords that are very similar, sometimes they will cannibalize each other. And so it's our job to allocate the budget to the most effective keyword. And so what we do is we set negatives so one word does not eat the other traffic's word. And this is something just, again, to help the traffic allocation to the higher performing keyword. The next thing that we do, this is more on a daily basis, is explore budget allocation. And what this means is sometimes, or pretty much all the time, either unless you're spending all of the budget possible in Google, which is very rare, you can push your budget to campaigns that are performing better and yielding you better results. And so it's our job to go in there and look at each campaign, see which one has the best lead costs, which one is yielding the most sales, and put budget into that. It's also, we do that not only at a campaign level, but at a keyword level. So if there are keywords that are really driving performance and you're not even coming close to hitting your budget, then we're gonna put all of your budget into those keywords, try and get you the most bang for your buck. And so that's something that's kind of done on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We look at different timeframes to see how they're performing. Next is a page speed test. Page speed is very, very important. We've actually ran a lot of experiments lately for our clients that have in some cases double conversion rates, because the page speed was so slow before, and by improving the page speed, it just made the experience so much better for the user. It drove them to convert because they weren't frustrated on the page, whatever it may be. But this is something that we like to look at. We look at it during business hours and things like that when we're driving traffic to your pages, to make sure that your users are getting a good experience and that they actually are not being prohibited from or inhibited from converting on the page because it's so slow. Ad extensions are little pieces added to your Google ads that just add a little bit more relevant information to the user, and they may click these, they may just see them. It's a good way to get attention to your ads, improve your click-through rate, which will help your quality score and help your cost per click and all that stuff. So having extensions in your ads are very valuable. A lot of people just kind of gloss over it because it's one of those extra credit type pieces. You don't have to have them to run your ads, but they really do help in your ads appearance and your overall quality score. New campaign strategies. This is something that after we meet with the client and we're kind of in a good place with the account overall, are there any B2B opportunities, new B2C opportunities, other product lines that you want to go into that we can somewhat experiment with a small piece of your budget to see if it's something that's viable for your business. Segment overview. So this is something that is really, really useful inside of Google. It allows you to look at different segments and how they're performing. So for instance, Google actually serves your ads on a few different platforms. When we're talking about search, they serve your ads on Google, and then they serve it on search partners, so other sites with search functionality. Sometimes the two of them can perform very, very differently. And most of the time you wouldn't know this because they don't report it in this fashion, but if you segment your views, you can see how these different segments are actually performing. And if they're performing bad, you can toggle them on or off, and it's a great way to save money, not let Google kind of take your budget and do what it wants with it. So Google automation settings. This is another one that lately Google's been pushing a lot more automation, and if you don't uncheck this box in your account, or sometimes it'll check back on, you have to be sure that you're giving them no permissions in your account unless you want them to make changes. But what Google will do is sometimes they'll create ads on your behalf, they'll put different extensions in there, they can do a lot of different things, and we prefer not to have this be the case because at the end of the day they make money when you spend money, and so I'd rather not have them control your budget. That being said, Google does a lot of great things. They have a lot of great automation features. Some of them work, some of them don't. So I think it's important just to be sure that you have your finger on the pulse and not allow them to make changes without you knowing. So RLSA campaigns, what this stands for is remarketing lists for search ads. And so what this allows you to do is serve ads to people who have already been to your site on the search network. And so what that means is we have to go in and create audiences inside your Google Ads account and your analytics account and target people who have already been to your site. And we typically see higher conversion rates from these people because they're already familiar with your brand. The next thing that we like to do on a monthly basis is test bid strategies. So again, Google is really pushing their new bid strategies and automation features. And so if you're not always testing their new methods, you may get left behind. And sometimes they work really well, sometimes they don't, but it's one of those things that we like to test just to make sure that we're not missing out on anything, and it could be driving better results for you. Pausing enabling keywords, this is another important thing. So inside your account, we sometimes see what's called the 80-20 rule. Most of the time this is the case, that 80% of your business is coming from 20% of your keywords. And so what we do in your account is, if there are keywords that are clearly outperforming or underperforming, we either like to allocate more budget to the good ones or just pause the other ones. And so this is something we like to do, again, on different time frames to make sure that we're not being short-sighted. So we'll sometimes look at a monthly basis to see how your keywords are performing, and this really helps the overall health of the account as well. Creating remarketing audiences, this kind of goes hand in hand with RLSA, but it also is for the display network. So creating remarketing audiences on people who have either visited 2 pages of your site, all the pages of your site, your shopping cart, or your thank you page. You can remarket to people who are already leads to try and re-engage them. So we like to do this on a semi-frequent basis to make sure that we're not losing out on any of your current people that we've already paid to have come to your site. Video ads is a really important thing and is becoming more and more frequent lately. Most people consume content through video, and so remarketing them on YouTube or even prospecting for people on YouTube and or Facebook with video ads is very, very valuable. Creating display campaigns, again, and I've said it a couple times, but Google really is pushing the pace on their targeting, and their display targeting has become very, very robust. And so, strictly when we first started, we were heavily into search. But now the display campaigns are starting to really perform well. And so for clients who have the budgetary, they can actually afford to do this. In addition to their search campaigns, we like to do a little bit of experimentation with display just to see if it's something that is scalable for the client. And then lastly, we like to always run remarketing campaigns. It's not something we set up from the very start. It is something that we do move into because as your audience builds, it becomes very valuable to retarget that traffic. So this is just at a glance what we do for your account on a monthly basis, and each one of these things has sub tasks within them, but this is very high level, and we just like to let you know what it is we're doing here at Empirical360 for you. Thanks.